I'm going to talk to you today about the fourth of the 3 rules of conflict. Let me give you a recap so we know how we got here. The first of the 3 rules of conflict is that the conflict is usually not about what it's about. There's something else going on. The second of the 3 rules of conflict said that everyone who's involved in the problem is going to have to be involved in the solution. The third of the 3 rules of conflict says that the process and the outcome are the same thing, meaning that however we try to resolve a problem or whatever process we're working on is going to be infused into the outcome of that process. But that outcome is actually going to be a new process, which brings us to the fourth of the 3 rules of conflict. There's not going to be a final outcome. Now, that's hard to hear sometimes, but let me tell you why it's not such a bad thing. First of all, what it reminds us is that life is an ongoing process. We don't actually want to get to the end any faster than we have to. If we're in an ongoing relationship, each new situation or everything that we are able to fix or move into the increasing adequacy is going to basically set us up for a new situation, and we're going to have to deal with new issues after that. So what this reminds us is that we need to stop focusing on what we want to get or what we want to see happen. Forget about the what, because we're not going to get to that place where it's just like, okay, all done, everything's finished. Because really, what would that even look like? It's not a really pretty situation where we're all just have everything figured out, everyone agrees on everything, and we don't have any new ideas. It's not a good situation. So instead, we want to think about how do we want to do things? How do we want to be in an ongoing relationship with each other? How do we want to address the questions that are coming up again? So just to highlight that, it's a shift from what do we want to how do we want it to be? And that is a place where we have all sorts of capacity for changing the qualitative experience of whatever's going on. Now, this is also meaning that we're not going to try to win, because winning is a fixed state. Earlier on in this series, I pointed out that sometimes when we're trying to win, like we win a game or something, no one's ever thinking that they won the sport. They just know they have to go back to practice and play a new game. So this is what it's about. There's another quote here that I want to share from Ursula Guin. It's from her book, The Lathe of Heaven. And it says, "The ends justify the means, but what if there never is an end? And all we have is means." And that's true. That is exactly what's going on. All we have is means, and all we have is process. You know, you can think about the government or the political system as just a really complex conflict resolution process. It's not working very well, but that's where we get to the quality part. How do we want to be doing this? What are the qualities we want to have in the process? And some guiding questions that I like, especially related to the first rules of conflict, is how can everyone who's involved in this process be aware of and affirm and respect our ongoing interdependence? We're not going to get rid of the other people. We're not going to get rid of the disagreements. We're not all going to agree. So how can we recognize that we are interdependent? And then how can we then choose to engage with each other during future disagreements? What processes do we want to use? What qualities do we want to have in that process? Again, the point here is to shift from what we want to see happen to how do we want to do that. And in the next video, I'm going to introduce a really cool model for thinking about this called Game B. And there's some people out there who are coming up with the rules of the new game. So I'll talk to you more about that in the next video. Thank you.